Why does Oprah have a relationship with a man who owned baby farms? The man I'm talking about in particular is John of God. John of God claimed to miraculously heal people, was later revealed to have been running a sex slave farm.
We put too much pressure on Tyler Perry. You know what I mean? He ain't put nobody on. The people that been in his productions, they not famous. All of them can walk through the mall without security. Be what you gonna be, but put your people on. If you a gay person and you in there, put some other gay people on. Put somebody on. Or don't be wondering why people keep saying gatekeepers. Because clearly, y'all are keeping these gates. Clearly.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is like...
It really is.
Bigger than a dream.
Yes.
Okay, she's on fire, taking home 5 Grammys.
My friends who had children, you're 7 years old and someone is stroking your penis. It feels good. Even though you don't have a name for what that is, it feels good.
Not Beyonce throwing Oprah Winfrey under the bus to save herself. This comes after new evidence in the Epstein files flat out exposed Beyonce and Jay Z for allegedly receiving millions of dollars from Epstein to destroy the Black community. Mind you, Beyonce was already linked to Jeffrey's CT rings all the way in Nigeria, and Jay Z was also outed for group essaying a woman with Harvey Weinstein at Jeffrey's party. So the fact that they are getting exposed again is crazy. It just makes you wonder how far this stuff really goes. But instead of Beyonce coming clean, she's now dragging Oprah into it. And it's not looking good for Oprah either, because there are multiple receipts of her rolling in bed with very shady people, and even helping them carry out their dirty operations. Hell, it's even been alleged that she built a whole $40 million school in South Africa under the guise of helping the community, when the real reason might be CT. Okay, so in case you somehow don't know about the new leak in the Epstein case, it all started when a never-before-seen document from the DOJ leaked online, containing some crazy information about Beyonce and Jay Z. You see, when the DOJ released the files earlier this year, they made it clear that those weren't the only things they had. Apparently, there's more to the files than we thought, but they held back on some of the info they had. And even with the few they showed us, a lot of names and images were redacted for privacy reasons. But baby, just a few days ago, someone from there decided to be messy by leaking more of it. And one of the documents happened to contain some tea about how Epstein was allegedly paying Beyonce and Jay Z to be a mole in the Black community. But as I said, instead of Beyonce directly addressing this, she and her team allegedly threw Oprah under the bus by exposing incriminating evidence about her to distract folks from what is being said about her. And honestly, it worked, because for the longest time, Oprah's name has been tied to all kinds of shady situations, from that controversial all-girls school she opened in South Africa to her connections with people like Epstein, Weinstein, and that so-called spiritual healer John of God. But every single time people call her out, she gives the same excuse, like, girl, how are you always somehow standing right next to the mess, but never know anything about the mess? Wrong place, wrong time every time? Please. Like back in 2007, Oprah opened the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa. It was supposed to be this safe, elite school for disadvantaged girls from grades 8 through 12, basically a place where young girls could get protected, educated, and given better opportunities. But not long after it opened, the whole thing turned into a nightmare. Several students went missing, and others accused one of the dorm matrons, Virginia Makopo, of SA. She was arrested in November 2007 and later released on bail. And baby, that wasn't even the worst of it. Over the years, people have also speculated about girls allegedly going missing from the academy, and there were even disturbing reports about a newborn allegedly being found in the school's trash bin.
Oprah Winfrey has had a lot of controversy around her African school for girls, with huge conspiracy theories starting that these girls were going missing from Oprah's school. All of these theories started shortly after Oprah opened her school in 2007, and the matriarch of that school was charged with SA of 7 different girls. Oprah ended up offering a public apology to the parents and the children and citing her own SA incidents in this apology. But the matriarch would then be found not guilty of these crimes. But then it shocked the nation, because shortly after this, Oprah's school was hit with another SA allegation. 7 students were suspended for harassing and fondling classmates. And a lot of people thought that this stemmed from the very first incident, because why would these children be acting like this? And the rumors started swirling after this point, because they just didn't understand how these things could happen so close to one another. And then boom, there was another investigation at Oprah's school after the body of a newborn was found in a girl's book bag.
And as if all of that wasn't already bad enough, Oprah was mentioned in the Virginia Giuffre lawsuit involving Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Another thing that had people looking at Oprah some type of way was how she dismissed the stories of multiple victims. There's an old episode from the Oprah Winfrey Show where an SA survivor allegedly came on and spoke about some dark, ritualistic things she claimed to witness. But according to people who remember it, that episode basically vanished after it aired and was never really pushed or rebroadcast the way her other interviews were.
So you witnessed the sacrifice?
Right. When I was very young, I was forced to participate in that, in which I had to sacrifice an infant.
And the purpose of sacrifice is to what? Is to bring you what? What are you sacrificing for?
For power.
If you're 7 years old and somebody, which I was trying to say this to my friends who had children, you're 7 years old and someone is stroking your penis, it feels good. Even though you don't have a name for what that is, it feels good. And when I first said this years ago, people were like, you're crazy, because everybody wants to believe it's like assault and you're being thrown up against the wall and you're being... And I have said for years, if the abuser is any good.
But baby, it did not stop there. Once those Epstein files started making rounds, Oprah's name got dragged right back into the mess. Now, of course, Oprah has denied being involved, but people are still not letting her off easily. In fact, they brought up more allegations, like her connections to John of God, Diddy, and all these other shady men she's been tied to over the years. You see, back in 2010, Oprah interviewed this Brazilian faith healer named John of God, and even visited his center all the way in Brazil. At the time, she was speaking about him like he was some deeply spiritual figure, and people said she basically helped introduce him to a much bigger audience. But fast forward to when he got exposed for raping multiple women, Oprah tried to separate herself from the scandal like she isn't the reason people even know of his existence in the first place. Now, mind you, when it comes to her associating with all these questionable men, she never seems to have anything to say about them. But when it's a black man, she and her alleged lesbian girlfriend, Gayle King, have the loudest mouths. Gayle even had this whole situation with Snoop Dogg back in the day when he slammed her reporting about on the SA allegations against Kobe Bryant barely a year after he passed.
Gayle King, out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that? I swear to God, we the worst. We the fucking worst. We expect more from you, Gayle. Don't you hang out with Oprah? Why y'all attacking us? We your people. You ain't coming after Harvey Weinstein asking them dumb questions. I get sick of y'all. I want to call you one. Is it okay if I call her one? Funky dog head. How dare you try to tarnish my motherfucking homeboy's reputation, punk mother.
And as I said, Oprah is also very, very guilty of this mess behavior. 50 Cent was one of the first people to call her out on this, when he called her out for selling black people out to favor her white audience. I think she caters to older white women. Oprah's audience is my audience's parents, so I couldn't care less about Oprah or her show. She was completely against everything that was in my music, so she ain't never gonna have me on that show. I'm never gonna reach that platform, which is confirmation of you being a huge success. So I just said, okay, if we can't be friends, then at least let's be enemies. I'm actually better off having friction with her. And let's not forget, Oprah was also real quick to jump on the allegations against Michael Jackson. But when it comes to the powerful white men she's been tied to, suddenly it's quiet. Like, baby, where is that same energy? And this is exactly why people have been side-eyeing her for years. Because it's not just one person saying Oprah moves funny. Ludacris even called her out during a radio interview, saying she ambushed him with questions about his rap lyrics when he was only supposed to be on her show to promote his movie. He felt like she tried to make him look bad, instead of actually letting him talk about the project.
Made about, I was there for Crash, for the movie.
Yeah.
And basically she said something about not agreeing with my music, but she thought I did great in the movie. And of course I was up there with the whole cast of Crash.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't necessarily feel like that needed to be said. You know, you didn't agree with my music. And even if you don't agree with certain songs I made, say you don't agree with certain songs, don't say you just don't agree with all of my music.
Right.
Then you got Monique, who has been saying for years that Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels allegedly blackballed her after she refused to keep doing free promo for Precious, especially when they wanted her flying overseas on her own dime. Monique basically said once she didn't play the Hollywood game the way they wanted, they made sure doors started closing on her. And then Taraji P. Henson had people talking too, when she opened up about feeling underpaid and exhausted while working in Hollywood, especially around the color purple.
Where's my raise? I haven't seen a raise in my income since Proud Mary. And almost had to walk away from Color Purple. Yes, ma'am. Who said what? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because you know what? If I don't take a stand, how am I making it easy for Fantasia and Danielle and Hallie and Felicia?
And a lot of people were disgusted hearing all of this, but baby, they were not shocked, because Dave Chappelle had basically been trying to tell us about this mess way back in 2006. Y'all remember when Dave went on the Oprah Winfrey show after walking away from that huge $50 million Comedy Central deal and disappearing to Africa? At the time, the media was trying to paint him like he was crazy, unstable, and just randomly ran off. But Dave made it clear that there was more going on behind the scenes. According to Dave, that deal came with some shady strings attached, the kind of strings he was not comfortable playing along with. He said something about the whole situation felt off, and that's why he chose his peace and safety over the money. But here's where people started side-eyeing Oprah. While Dave was trying to explain that he wasn't just crazy, and that there were real industry politics behind why he left, Oprah kept cutting in and steering the conversation back to his mental health. Like she wanted him to admit there was something wrong with him, instead of letting him fully explain what he had allegedly seen behind the scenes.
Increasingly paranoid. Would you say you were paranoid?
Sure. First of all, what is a black man without his paranoia intact? You might win $100 in a poker game and be on the subway. You're gonna look over your shoulder. They just said in everything I had $50 million. That's like making me a marked man.
So did you go to a psychiatric hospital?
In South Africa?
Yeah.
Who? I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not taking this medicine, man, because I know these people be trying to control you or maybe discredit you. I was afraid, like, you know.
But you were stressed out. That's why.
There's no question. But it's very stressful for someone to constantly walk behind you and say, you're insane.
Now, the reason a lot of people are gagged about Beyonce doing all this is that for the longest time, she and Oprah have had a pretty good relationship. Hell, Oprah was even at Beyonce's tour, and Tina was also on Oprah's show not too long ago, telling Oprah about how she threw Beyonce and Solange into therapy before therapy was even a thing.
I have never in my life experienced anything like that. I am in awe of that kind of talent, that kind of synergy, what it takes to do that kind of expression, that kind of anointing. I mean, that is a thing that's coming straight from a source that creates the planets.
You walked out of that show and I felt I could eat raw meat raw. She made you feel so powerful.
Yeah.
That just give me a piece of raw meat and I will bite it and throw it to the people. That's how empowered she made you feel. That God.
We're brought back to say hello to her. That was pretty phenomenal. I wish. Well, I would have been a pool of tears if I'd have seen her afterwards. I wouldn't have even known. I wouldn't have even known how to express what I was feeling. It's just to put your daughters in therapy at a very young age, at a time when it was considered taboo, especially in the Black community. I remember in 1986 when I started the Oprah show. Everybody was like, I would never go to a therapist, and going to a therapist makes you crazy.
That's what
and one of your siblings told you you're going to make the girls crazy.
Yes.
Because they're too young. Yeah. Something in your instinct said the girls needed to go to therapy. Why?
I got so scared because they were like super close. Then all of a sudden, Solange was taking Beyonce's stuff, and Beyonce was kind of being a little mean to her, and I had never seen it before. It scared me to death.
But then again, this is Hollywood, so loyalty really isn't a thing with these people. These people throw each other under the bus all the time. Beyonce isn't the first to allegedly do it, and she won't be the last either. In the meantime, Oprah hasn't responded, but people had been going off, and they are not being very nice to Oprah. One person said, "Oprah has been pissing me off since I was 24. I'm 44 now, and enough is enough with her. Her power poses so many problems." Another person said, "Never liked Oprah. I always thought she was a liar and a phony. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of Beyonce allegedly coming out to slam Oprah like this? And do you really think Oprah needs to be investigated for her shady links to all these questionable people? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.